Hi students, welcome to Sunil's tutorial. I'm Sunil Nirwani and today we will be doing this chapter called as cost of capital. I'm doing illustration 10. Guys, I'm doing illustration 10. Can you please see this? They said that calculate the weighted cost of capital for the following data. Now, the sources of capital are given to you as 7% debentures. Guys, see the sum. They give you 7% debentures, 8% preference shares, and equity share capital. These are the sources of finance that are given to you. In terms of amount, they've given you 1,30,000, 70,000 and 60,000. Sorry, 6 lakhs. Right, total they've given you is 8 lakhs. Now the first thing that you have to do is, guys, you have to find out the proportion. The first thing that you have to do is find out proportion. How do you find out proportion? Proportion is amount divided by total into 100. Proportion is amount divided by total into 100. So 1,30,000 divided by 8 lakhs into 100. So please do that. 16.25%. Next, 70,000 divided by 8 lakhs into 100. Someone please do that.
8.75.
Oh, excuse me?
8.75.
8.75. Then 6 lakhs divided by 8 lakhs into
75.
right? So that's your proportion. Next, you have to find out cost of capital. Now, in cost of capital, cost of debenture, guys, is found out by using the formula I1 minus T, where I stands for interest rates, T stands for tax rate. Now, if you read the sum, they are saying a dividend of 10% a year has been paid on equity shares in the recent year. All the company's securities are quoted on the local stock exchange. The prices of these securities are recently been at par. They haven't said anything about tax. So straight away the debenture rate, guys, will be the same rate, 7%. The preference share rate, guys, is always the same percentage, that is 8%. Preference share, you always calculate this percentage here. Cost of equity. Cost of equity is given by the formula dividend per share upon market price per share into 100 plus growth. Right? That's the formula for cost of equity. Now they are saying that dividend of 10%. Right in the beginning they said that a dividend of 10% a year has been paid on equity shares. All the company's securities are quoted on the local stock exchange. The price of these securities recently has been at par. That means the market price is the par value, which is 100 into 100. There is no growth given to you in the sum. So this is going to be 10%. So equity is going to be 10%. Then you can find out your weighted cost of capital. Weighted cost of capital. How do I get weighted cost of capital, guys? Proportion into cost of capital. Now while doing this, consider this as a number, consider this as a percentage. So 16.25 into 7%. Someone please do that.
1.17.
Can I have that again?
1.13.
1.13%. Next, 8.75 into 8%.
0.7.
And 75 into 10% is going to be 7.5%. Add this. Someone please add this.
9.33.
9.33%. So your weighted cost of capital is 9.33%. This finishes the sum. Let's move on to the next one, guys. Let's see illustration 11. They're saying that a firm's finances all its investment by 40% debt and 60% equity. Okay. Sources. The sources given to you are debt and equity. Right? Amount is not given to you. Proportion is given to you as 40% debt and 60% equity. Okay. The estimate expected required rate of returns on equity is 10% after tax. Cost of capital. They said that the estimated required rate of return on equity is 10% after tax on equity, right? And 6% on debt. After tax, 6% on debt. The firm is considering an investment proposal of 4 lakhs. The total investment that you will be making is 4 lakhs. Right? So in that case, in terms of amount, 4 lakhs into 40% is going to be nothing but 1,60,000. Right? 4 lakhs into 40% will give you 1,60,000. 4 lakhs into 60% will give you 2,40,000. So I have the amount also with me. Now, they've asked you to find out what amount must be proposed, what amount must the proposal yield per year so that the market price of the share does not change. Show your calculations with the answer. First, let's find out the weighted cost of capital.
2.4.
This is 2.4. How did he do that? He did 40 into 6%. And this is 6. So that's 8.4%. Now they are saying that what will happen to the market price of the share, right? Now let's see this. My weighted average cost of capital, weighted average cost of capital is 8.4%. We just calculated that, right? Now, your investment is 4 lakhs. They've said that the total investment is 4 lakhs. Now, if your weighted average cost of capital is 8.4%, that means what should be your returns, minimum returns, so that you are at break even? Returns, the minimum money that you should earn should be 8.4% of your investment. Someone please help me calculate this.
33,600.
33,600. Right? Besides this is the minimum returns that you want. Besides this, you also have to pay interest on debt. Interest on debt. You've taken a debt of 1,60,000 and you have to pay 6% interest on that. Can someone please help me calculate that?
9,600.
4 lakhs is my total investment. On debt and equity combined together, I have to pay 33,600. Right? On debt alone, I have to pay 9,600. That means how much is the dividend that has to be paid to the equity shareholders? Dividend to equity shareholders is going to be the difference. 24,000.
So कैसे?
Total returns I'm paying 33,600. Right? Out of which 9,600 I'm paying to the debt holders. Total, you have given me 4 lakhs for which I'm paying you 33,600. Out of which 9,600 I'm paying you for the loan. So for equity shares, how much am I paying you? 24,000. So in that case, what will be my rate of return on equity? Rate of return on equity. How much is the equity shareholder earning? He is earning 24,000 on how much has he invested? 2,40,000 into 100. He is earning 10%. The returns on equity is 10%. That means if the company pays a returns of 33,600, the equity shareholder will end up earning 10% of returns. So they've asked you how much will the shareholder earn? The shareholder will earn 10%. Fine, do we get this? This is that sum. Next, let's move on to the next sum. This finishes that sum. Illustration 12. Sources. You have sources are given to you as equity share capital, 6% preference share capital, and 8% debentures. These are the sources given to you. In terms of amount, they've given you 80 lakhs, 20 lakhs and 60 lakhs. So your total is going to be 160 lakhs. Fine. Let's find out the proportion. 80 divided by 160 into 100 is 50%. Right? 20 divided by 160. Someone please do how much is 20 divided by 160?
12.5.
60 divided by 160.
37.5.
Right? Now, cost of capital. Let's see this cost of equity. How do I get cost of equity? They've said that the share of the company sells at 20 rupees. That means the market price is given to you as 20. It is expected that the company will pay a dividend of 2 per share and will grow at 7% forever. Right? Let's see this. Let's find out cost of equity. Cost of equity is dividend per share upon market price per share into 100 plus growth dividend. They are saying that the company will pay a dividend of 2. Market price of the share is 20. Growth is given to you as 7%. So this is going to be, someone please send me.
10.75.
Excuse me?
10.75.
I don't think so. 17%, not straightforward. 10% plus 7%. This is going to give you 10% and this is going to give you 7%. So that is 17%. Right? Let's also find out the cost of debt. Cost of debt is I1 minus tax. Now the debt was 8% debentures. 1 minus tax. Tax rate, guys, is given to you as 35%. 35%, guys, is nothing but 0.35. 35% means 35 upon 100, which is nothing but 0.35. So this is 8 into 0.65. Can someone please help me calculate that?
5.2.
Right? Now that you have both the values, let's come back to our table. Cost of equity we found out is 17%. Cost of debt we found out is 5.2%. And for preference shares, I told you that you write this figure as it is. So this 6 will be written here as it is. Right? You want to ask me something? Next, let's find out the weighted cost.
8.5.
How did she do that? 50 into 17%. 8.5.
0.75.
0.75. Next,
1.95.
1.95. So please add on that. 11.2%. So your weighted cost of capital is going to be 11.2%. That is the A part of the sum. Now the B part of the sum says that compute the new weighted average cost of capital if the company raises an additional 40 lakh debt by issuing 10% debentures. You have to make the table again. Let's see the B part of the sum. Sources. You already had equity shares. You already had 6% preference shares. You already had 8% debentures. This was already there. They are saying that the company issues an additional 40 lakhs by issuing 10% debentures. You are issuing new 10% debentures. Besides the capital that you already had, you are issuing 10% debentures. In terms of amount, this was already 80 lakhs, 20 lakhs and 60 lakhs. You are issuing new 10% debentures of 40 lakhs. So this is going to be 200 lakhs. Proportion. Find out 80 divided by 200. 40%, 10%, 30% and 20%. Now, again you will have to find out cost of equity. Let's see how do we get cost of equity. They are saying that this would result in an increase in dividend to rupees 3 and leaving the growth rate unchanged, the price of share will fall to 15 rupees per share. So So dividend will become 3, market price of the share will become 15, and the growth rate shall remain unchanged, right? 5, 20, 27%. Someone cross check please.
Yes.
Okay, let's find out the cost of debt. Now the cost of debt for 8% debentures will be the same. I'm finding out the cost of debt for 10% debentures. I1 minus tax, interest is 10, tax rate is 35%, so that is 0.35. So 10 into 0.65, that's 6.5, right? So in terms of, let's find out cost of capital. Equity is 27%. Preference shares, I told you, write this figure here as it is. 8% debentures we already calculated is 5.2%. For 10% debentures it is 6.5%. Now weighted cost. Right? How do I get weighted cost?
10.08.
Proportion into cost of capital. Yeah.
10.8 first.
8.8.
10.8.
10.8. Next.
0.6.
Next.
1.56.
Next.
1.3.
1.3.
Someone please help me add that.
Uh, 14.26.
Right? That's your B part of the question. So if you are raising an additional 10% debentures of 40 lakhs, your weighted average cost of capital will become 14.26%. Next, compute the cost of capital in case B if the growth rate increases to 12%. C part of the question. They are saying that do everything as you did in case B, but change the growth rate to 12%. So let's see this. Sources. Equity, 6% preference, 8% debentures, 10% debentures. Amounts will remain the same, 80, 20, 60, 40. Right? Proportion will remain the same, 40, 10, 30, 20. The only thing that is going to change is your cost of equity. And why is the cost of equity going to change? Because they are saying that the growth rate shall change from 7% to 12%. So cost of equity is market price per share upon dividend per share into 100 plus growth rate. They are changing this growth rate from 7% to 12%. So this is going to be 32%. So in this case, your cost of capital, all the others will remain the same. Cost of capital. This will be 32%. This 6%. Everything else remains the same. 5.2%, 6.5%. Weighted cost. 40 into 32%. Someone please tell me how much?
12.8.
How much? 12.8. Next.
0.6.
Next.
1.56. 1.
Total.
16.26.
Right? That finishes that sum. Let's move on to the next sum, guys. Now, they said that assuming no taxes, given the earning before interest and tax at the rate of 12%, the equity capitalization rate, 12% and equity capitalization rate, calculate the total market value of each of the firm Alpha, Bravo, Charlie and Delta. Let's see this. First, let's make the table. EBIT is given to you. Earning before interest and tax is given to you. Less interest will give you EBT. Less tax will give you EAT. Right? First, let's do this. I'm going to first do for Alpha. Now, if you see the sum, the EBIT of Alpha is 3 lakhs. The EBIT of Alpha is 3 lakhs. Interest is given to you as 30,000. So EBT will be 2,70,000. They have given you right in the beginning of the sum that there is no tax rate. So So your EAT will be 2,70,000, right? Once you have this, then you can find out your equity share capital sources. Equity share capital. How will you find out your equity share capital? That's EAT into your equity capital into 100 divided by the equity capitalization rate, right? So your EAT is 2,70,000 into 100 and your equity capitalization rate for alpha is 10%. So your amount will be 27 lakhs. Similarly, for debt, the formula will be interest into 100 divided by the debt rate. Interest is 30,000 into 100 divided by debt rate. The rate of interest is given to you right in the opening paragraph as 12%. Someone please help me calculate this.
Two lakh 50,000.
Right? So thus you have the amount for your debt and equity. So your total will be 29,50,000. So they've asked you, first thing that they've asked you, that what is your total market value of the firm. The total market value of Alpha Limited is 27,50,000. Now they've also asked you to find out the weighted cost of capital, right? Let's find out the proportion here. Someone please do this. 27 lakhs divided by 29,50,000 into 100. 27 lakh divided by 29,50,000 into 100.
91.52.
Similarly, 2,50,000 divided by 29,50,000 into 100.
8.47.
Right? Now, let's find out the cost. Cost of capital. They've already given you that cost of equity is 10% and cost of debt is given to you as 12%. So now you can find out your weighted cost. Weighted cost 91.2 into 10% is 9.152. Someone please help me calculate the other one. 8.4.
1.016.
1.016%. Someone please add that.
Ten
10.16.
So the average weighted cost of capital for Alpha Limited is 10.16%. Now I've shown you how to do for Alpha. You should be able to do for Bravo, Charlie and Delta on the same lines. Use the same method, use the same analogy, and you should be able to do for Bravo, Charlie and Delta for homework. In the meantime, I'll start with the next sum. Let's see illustration 14. A company is considering raising funds of 4 lakhs and it has one of the two alternatives. Either going for 16% institutional term loan or 13% non-convertible debenture. The term loan would attract no major incidental cost. Debentures would have to be issued at a discount of 2.5%, which would involve a cost of issue of 2 lakhs. Advise the company which is a better option. On the effective cost of capital, assume tax rate to be 50%. Now I have two options. Option 1 and option 2. Both are debt options. The first debt option is 16% institutional term loan. 16% loan. Institutional term loan. My second option is 13% non-convertible debentures. The amount that I need, in both the cases I am taking a loan, how much loan do I need? Guys, they have said that 400 lakhs. The loan amount required is 400 lakhs in each case. Fine. Now, they are saying that the term loan option would attract no incidental major charges. If I am taking a loan of 400 lakhs, there are no finance charges involved in this. Whereas, if I am issuing the debentures, first of all, I have to issue the debentures at a discount of 2.5%. Someone please calculate 2.5% on 400 lakhs.
10.
How much?
10.
10.
So I'll have to give a discount. Besides this, the cost of issue is 2 lakhs, right? So the net amount that I will get for the loan in the case of 16% loan is 400 lakhs. In the case of this is going to be 388 lakhs, right? Now, how much is the interest that I will have to pay on each one of them? Interest is 16%. 16% on 400 lakhs. Can someone please calculate 16%?
64.
Now, although I have given a discount, but when I have to pay interest to the debenture holders, I'll have to pay them on principal amount. Someone please calculate 13% on 400 lakhs. 13% on 400 lakhs. 52 lakhs. This is the interest that I will have to pay. To 16% loan holders, I will have to pay 64 lakhs as interest. To 13% debenture holders, I will have to pay 52 lakhs interest.
So why not 388?
Because that is the expenses I have incurred. I have sold debentures of 400 lakhs to you. You are a debenture holder. So I will have to pay you interest. These were the other expenses that I incurred. They are on me. I'll just show you what is their effect now. Right? Now, the tax rate is given to you as 50%. 50% means this will become 32 and this will become 26. Right? So in that case, the net interest that I'll pay here is 32 lakhs and here I'll pay is 26 lakhs. Right? Find out your cost of debt. Cost of debt is interest, net interest that I'll be paying upon the net amount realized into 100. Now in the first case, I'm paying an interest of 32. Net interest I'm paying 32 lakhs. On how much money I'm getting? 400 lakhs into 100. Someone please help me calculate this. 8%. So although I've told the debenture holders that I'm going to pay them 16%, in reality I have to pay only 8%. Whereas in this case, this is 26 lakhs. The net amount that I got in my hand was only 388 lakhs into 100. Someone please 6.70%. So in the case of first option, the interest that has to be paid is 8%. In the case of second option, the interest that has to be paid is 6.7%. As a company, it is advisable for you to pay lower interest. Hence, option B will be selected. Right? Yes. Yes, the debenture option will be selected. Okay. We will stop this here for the day. Thank you very much.